Preface and Act 1 of Treasure Island, a play in 4 acts, by Jules Goodman. Treasure Island. Cast:
Jim Hawkins, read by Rachel.
Mrs. Hawkins, read by Jennifer Fournier.
Dr. Livesey, read by Kristin G.
Squire Trelawney, read by Todd.
Captain Smollett, read by Maria Kasper.
Hunter, read by David Lawrence.
Joyce, read by Elizabeth Travers.
Gray, read by Andrew Travers.
Captain Billy Bones, read by Beth Thomas.
Black Dog, read by MaryAnnS.
Pew, read by Ray Kasper.
Long John Silver, read by Adele de Pignerolles.
Captain Flint, the parrot, read by Beth Thomas.
Morgan, read by Esther and Simonides.
Anderson, read by Aaron Lebowitz.
George Mary, read by Lydia.
Israel Hands, read by Mark Thornton.
Dirk, read by Maggie Travers.
O'Brien, read by Maria Kasper.
Arrgh, read by Trisha G.
Dick, read by Beth Thomas.
Ben Gunn, read by John Burlinson.
Ben, read by Mike.
Another Man, read by Charlotte Eckert.
Narrator, read by Trisha G. The scenes of the play. Act 1. The Admiral Benbow Inn, Black Hill Cove. Act 2. Scene 1. The Quay at Bristol. Scene 2. The Quay at Bristol a few days later. Scene 3. The Hispaniola at anchor off Treasure Island some weeks later. Act 3. Scene 1. Treasure Island at dawn the following day. Scene 2. The stockade an hour later. Scene 3. The Hispaniola adrift night of the same day. Act 4. Scene 1. The stockade the following morning. Scene 2. Spyglass Mountain, the North Cache. Scene 3. Ben Gunn's Cave. The story of Treasure Island is so well known that only a brief resume need be indulged in here to freshen everybody's memory, and how can this be done half so well as in the words of the immortal little hero, Jim Hawkins? Squire Trelawney, Dr. Livesey, and the rest of these gentlemen having asked me to write down the whole particulars about Treasure Island, from the beginning to the end, keeping nothing back but the bearings of the island, and that only because there is still treasure not yet lifted, I take up my pen in the year of grace 17 , and go back to the time when my father kept the Admiral Benbow Inn, and the brown old seaman, with the sabre cut, first took up his lodging under our roof. I remember him as if it were yesterday, as he came plodding to the inn door, his sea-chest following behind him in a hand-barrow, a tall, strong, heavy, nut-brown man, his tarry pigtail falling over the shoulders of his soiled blue coat, his hands ragged and scarred, with black, broken nails, and the sabre cut across one cheek, a dirty, livid white. I remember him looking round the cove and whistling to himself as he did so, and then breaking out in that old sea-song that he sang so often afterwards. 15 men on the dead man's chest, yo ho ho, and a bottle of rum. Act 1. Scene. Interior of Admiral Benbow Inn. Before the curtain goes up, there is heard singing in loud boisterous voices. When the curtain rises, the captain is seen seated at the head of the table, with 5 or 6 men about the table, stools for table, not chairs. All drinking, and the captain browbeating them. Captain, seated table right, singing with villagers before curtain goes up.
15 dead men on a dead man's chest, yo ho ho, and a bottle of rum.
Curtain, cross to head of table center, sits.
Wait, I say, we'll sing that over, and louder, every one of you sing now.
They sing.
15 dead men on a dead man's chest. Yo ho ho and a bottle of rum. Drink and the devil had done for the rest. Yo ho ho and a bottle of rum.
Hits on table with his tankard.
That's enough. Silence, I say.
As a man gets up.
Where are you going?
I'm going home, sir.
Captain thunders at him.
Sit down, by thunder, you'll do as I say.
The man fearfully sits down. The captain draws his cutlass and places it on the table in front of him.
Not one of you leaves, do you hear?
Yes, yes.
It's a foggy evening, and I'll have company. Company!
Hits on the table with the end of his cutlass.
Mrs. Hawkins, I say.
Mrs. Hawkins rushes in from the tap room left center.
Yes? Yes, Captain?
Why don't you come when you hear me? More drinks, Mrs. Hawkins.
Oh, please, please, sir.
What? Did you hear what I said? Did you?
Very well, sir. I'll get it.
Goes out to tap room left center.
You two there. What were you whispering about? I saw you. I'll have no whisperings, you hear? Well, why don't you speak?
If you please, sir.
Who told you to speak?
Hits on the table with end of cutlass.
Mrs. Hawkins! Mrs. Hawkins! I'll have the rum. Rum! Rum, do you hear?
Let me go get it for you, sir.
Sit down.
Another man getting up.
It's late and we must go.
Sit down, I say.
The men sit down.
Not a man leaves. I'll not be left alone with those faces out there in the fog.
But there are no faces.
Who asked you to speak? By thunder, I've seen men run through for less. Rum! Rum! Rum!
Mrs. Hawkins coming in with tankards of drinks right of table.
Coming, sir.
The men getting up.
But indeed, we've had enough.
What's that?
Getting up.
And we must go home, sir.
What?
Enter Dr. Livesey. Mrs. Hawkins pleadingly.
Oh, please, sir. You're driving all my business away.
Driving it away? I'm holding it here, madam. Sit down.
As the men still stand and edge toward the door.
What? You refuse? You refuse to sit down and drink with me? Then by thunder we'll see.
With a cry, the men rush out right center. The captain rushes up to go after them and comes face to face with Dr. Livesey, who enters.
Hello, what's all this?
Silence between decks.
Are you addressing me, sir?
Aye, that I am.
Pounding on the table with the end of his cutlass.
Silence, I said. Silence, or...
Stop that.
What's that?
Mrs. Hawkins comes down right, terribly afraid.
Oh, please, sir, please.
Captain coming up angrily toward Dr. Livesey.
Now, say that again.
I said for you to stop it, and I mean it.
The captain, holding his cutlass in his hand.
Why, you rum-punchin' weak-livered swab, you bandy-leg lubber, I'll show you.
Put down that cutlass.
What, you?
Dr. Livesey, staring Captain down.
Put it down, or upon my honour you shall hang next assizes. Put it down.
Doctor points. The captain gives way.
And now you listen to me. I warned you against drinking before. You had a stroke, and much against my will I dragged you head foremost out of the grave. And now, Mr. Bones.
That's not my name.
Well, it will serve all right. And I tell you this, 1 glass of rum won't kill you, but if you take one, you'll take another, and I'll stake my wig, if you don't break off short, you'll die. You understand? Die and go your own place, like the man in the Bible.
Well, that's my business.
Yes, and this is mine. I am a magistrate as well as a doctor, and if I find the least complaint about you hereafter, I'll take means to have you routed out of this. Now then, away with you.
This is a free inn.
You heard what I said. Go.
Captain, on stairs.
You'll pay for this. You'll see.
He starts upstairs.
That's all right, and remember the very name of rum is death for you.
Captain goes out. Door upstairs. Mrs. Hawkins, very afraid.
Oh, sir, I'm so glad you came. He's got all the people round here so afraid they'll hardly come to the inn any more. We're all in mortal terror of the man, sir.
In spite of my warning that it would kill him, he's been drinking, eh?
Mrs. Hawkins sits.
Oh, yes, sir. Drinking and singing that horrid song. And blowing his nose so loud, sir, it sounds like the report of a cannon.
As Dr. Livesey smiles.
You may laugh, but I never knew a man to put such fierceness into the blowing of his nose. And when I asks him for money, sir, why, that's when he blows his nose the loudest.
I dare swear he owes you for his lodgings.
That he does, sir. Oh, I appeal to you as magistrate. He's ruining me, sir, ruining me.
Mrs. Hawkins, Squire Trelawney and I have been watching your lodger for some time.
He's given Jim a silver penny every month to keep his eye open for a seafaring man with one leg.
Ah, I see now.
And that's the worst of it. The influence he has over my boy.
Jim's a good boy, I'll be bound.
That he is, sir. Jim's the best boy in the world. The captain is filling his head with stories. You should have heard the stories as he told about that boat.
Indicates picture over mantel. Dr. Livesey looks at picture and reads title.
Flint's Treasure Ship.
He's got the boy so worked up with his horrid tales of pirates and sea fights and treasure hunting that the lad is fair bewitched with the idea of going to sea, and, oh, sir,
rise.
He's all I have. I want my money, but I don't want my boy in his company.
Puts chair back to table.
I think I can promise you both, Mrs. Hawkins. Squire Trelawney is to meet me here tonight.
Oh, sir, I hope there isn't going to be any fighting.
Can you keep a secret, Mrs. Hawkins?
As close as the grave, sir.
You can, eh? Come here to the window.
As she starts to the window.
No, it's so foggy you can't see, but there's a little lugger down at Kit's Hole. I suspect that's the boat our friend is looking for.
What? What is it?
Smuggler.
Oh.
That's what your captain is. That's why he's waiting for one special seaman. And that, Mrs. Hawkins, is what the squire and I have been waiting for. I've got men all over the countryside. Now, if we can keep an eye on the captain.
Enter Jim from tap room.
We'll get the whole crew of them. Oh, I say, you say Jim is close to the captain.
Hand and glove, more's the pity.
Jim.
Yes, sir.
That horrid man has had enough for today. The doctor wants to talk to you.
Exits.
Sit down.
Jim comes over and sits at the table.
Thank you, sir.
Jim, since your father died, your mother has had only you to help her.
I do my best, sir.
I know you do. Quite right, my boy. Jim, your mother tells me the captain hasn't paid for his board and lodging.
He hasn't. Not since the first day, sir. He was at that door calling for a glass of rum. This is a handy little cove, says he. Much company.
Oh, he asked that, did he?
And when he heard as how there was very little, he says, this is the berth for me. So when he comes with his sea-chest and throws down 3 pieces of gold, you can tell me when I've worked through that, says he.
Well, he has worked through it, hasn't he?
Oh, yes, sir, and much beside.
Jim, if your mother is to get what's owing her, you must watch his every move tonight. I shall be there in the village. The least thing that looks suspicious, any strangers that call him, any attempt of the captain to leave, you send me word, by your mother, no matter what happens. Don't you leave him for one moment.
Jim, slightly afraid but trying to hide it.
Yes, sir. No, sir. Yes, sir.
Jim sits right of table.
Jim, there's a nasty fog out there. A fog that hides things on the sea. A fog like that is bad for ships on good business, but it's good for ships on bad business. These men are on bad business.
with sudden change of tone.
Hawkins, I am a magistrate.
Yes, sir.
Hawkins, I appoint you an officer of the crown.
Jim, startled, arises.
Dr. Livesey?
Dr. Livesey salutes him.
An officer of the crown, Hawkins.
Jim awkwardly returns the salute.
Aye, sir.
You're the only one who can watch without suspicion. You're not afraid, Hawkins?
No, sir. I'm not afraid.
Dr. Livesey's hands on Jim's shoulders.
Then we'll unravel this mystery before midnight. Keep your eyes open. Remember, officer of the crown.
Exits Dr. Livesey, right center. Jim salutes. During the last two preceding speeches, there is heard a song as if the singer were approaching. Captain on stairs.
Jim, is he gone?
Who?
That swab of a doctor.
Yes.
Then go fetch me some rum, Jim.
But...
Rum. A whole tankard of it. Fetch it to my room.
Starts away.
But, Captain, the doctor said...
The doctor be blowed.
With sudden change of manner, he now becomes almost whiningly kind.
Nay, come here, Jim. I'm not meaning to be hard with you. You've been my friend, the only one I can trust.
Confidentially.
And if ever I need someone, it's today. There's things brewing today, Jim.
Looks fearfully over his shoulder at the window.
I can feel it in the air.
It's just the fog, Captain.
Aye, the fog. It's full of faces, Jim. The fog.
Keeps looking around furtively at the window.
Every step of the way from the cove I've seen 'em. Faces, Jim. Like those of Flint's crew up there. They've been all around me there.
Suddenly stares at the window.
See, there at the window. Look.
Jim crosses to window center.
Why, there's nothing there.
Didn't you see a face with an ugly look on it?
Jim goes to the door right center and looks out.
There's not a person on the road.
Comes back into the room center.
Faces everywhere in the fog.
Turns suddenly.
You've kept your eye open for a seafaring man with one leg?
Yes, sir, though it's no pay I've had these several weeks.
What?
I said I'd had no pay, and...
As Captain takes out his handkerchief to blow his nose.
That's all right, sir. You needn't mind.
Captain blows his nose.
No pay, hey? Well?
Starts to roar and then changes his mind.
Well, there's your pay, lad. Take it. I'm needing friends today.
As Jim takes the money.
There's a little lugger down at Kit's Hole. Keep your eyes open. Watch the road, and, Jim, anyone asks for me, you don't know me, you never heard of me. Understand?
Not even the seafaring man with one leg?
No, none of 'em. Bring my rum upstairs now, and keep your eyes open.
Turns and glances at the window.
There he is again. See him looking in that window?
I tell you there's no one. Nothing.
Nothing, eh? It's the whole crew of them in the fog there, the whole crew of 'em, and it's going to be a fight. But we'll beat 'em yet. Get me that rum, quick.
Goes upstairs. Jim goes timidly to the window and looks out. Then he draws back. Finally, he gets up his courage and goes to the door, looks out timidly, then grows bolder, goes outside, looks up and down, and finally comes in and closes the door. He exits to the tap room. For a moment the stage is empty. Upstairs, the captain can be heard singing his song. Finally, a face is seen peering at the window. Then the face disappears, and soon the door opens and a man enters. A pale, tallowy creature, wanting 2 fingers of the left hand, and though he wore a cutlass, he did not look much a fighter. He is Black Dog. For a moment he stands listening to the singing and nodding sardonically. He is making for the entrance upstairs when Jim returns with a tankard of rum. Black Dog wheels quickly at left. Jim, surprised and startled, left center.
I didn't hear you come in.
Black dog left at stairs.
Tidy little place. Very tidy. Come here, sonny. Come nearer here. And what have you there?
Goes up to Jim, who tries to draw back.
Some rum, sir.
Black dog sniffs it.
Rum it is. Good, strong rum.
Jim, fearing he is to take it.
It's for the gentleman upstairs, sir.
For the gentleman upstairs. Good, strong rum for the gentleman upstairs. You know what I think?
No, sir.
I think it is just the sort of stuff that'd suit my old mate, Bill. Now, what do you think?
I don't know your mate, Bill, and so...
Don't you now? That's too bad. What might you call your gentleman upstairs?
Captain.
Well, my mate Bill might be called Captain.
Jim, starting to go.
I'm sure he isn't the same.
We'll put it for argument. Your captain has a cut on one cheek, and that the right one.
Jim starts.
Ah, well, I told you. Now, is my mate, Bill, here?
Jim, up 2 steps.
I'll go upstairs and let him know.
No, you won't.
As Jim still starts to go, he thunders at him.
Stop, I say, or stop.
But, sir, I must tell the captain.
Black dog then fawning again as Jim stops.
There, lad. I'm meaning you no harm. Why, I have a son of my own as like you as 2 blocks, and he's all the pride of my art. But the great thing for boys is discipline, sonny. But you see, I planned this as a great surprise to Bill, bless his heart, and I couldn't have you spoil it.
He takes out his cutlass and tries it.
Oh, sir, I hope there's not going to be any trouble.
Captain upstairs.
Jim! Jim! Where's my rum?
Black dog motions Jim to keep silent.
Shh. Bill and me's old friends. He'll be glad to see me, Bill will. Bless his heart.
Still upstairs.
Jim! Jim!
Shh. Not a word, or I'll wring your neck.
Grasps Jim by the throat and urges him back of the stairs left.
What are you doing, sir?
Giving Bill a surprise. A little surprise.
The captain comes down the stairs. Furious.
Jim! Where has he gone? Jim, I say.
Goes to center head of table.
Jim!
Black dog speaks when captain gets above table. Steps out with cutlass drawn as captain turns.
Hello, Bill.
Captain stops short as if stunned.
You!
Come, Bill. You know your old shipmate.
Black dog, what do you want?
Moves toward him.
Just come to see my old shipmate, Billy, and talk over old times.
Captain, bitterly.
Old times, huh.
Moves toward Black dog. Black dog circles to right of table.
A sight of times we've seen, Bill, us 2, since I lost them talons.
Holds up mutilated hand.
Now, look here. You've run me down. Here I am. Well then, speak up. What is it?
That's you, Bill. Always to the point.
Significantly to Jim.
I'll just have a glass of rum.
Here, sir.
Makes as if to offer the tankard. Black dog sinister.
That's for the gentleman upstairs. I'll have my own.
As Jim hurries toward taproom.
Don't hurry back.
Jim takes hold of the taproom door to close it.
Leave that open. None of your keyholes for me, sonny.
Jim goes out at taproom door. Captain, fiercely.
Well, out with it.
Now we'll talk square like old shipmates.
Old shipmates, huh?
Sure, Bill. We're all here. Morgan, and Hans, and Pugh, and O'Brien.
Silver?
Aye, Silver. He's in command down there on the little lugger.
A nice little lugger it must be.
We all sailed with Flint, and what we got like gentlemen of fortune belonged to—
Flint.
Aye, to Flint. And Flint to Flint's crew. And that's what we've come for, what we're going to get.
Go on, out with it all.
There's money about you, Bill Bones.
Sits right of table.
Money as belongs to us all. And more than money, there's a little chart. Flint's fist, showing where all Flint's treasure is hid. Them things belong to us all, and by thunder, them things we're going to have. Now you know, Bill.
And that's the message they sent by you.
Aye.
Then you can go back and tell 'em I'm still captain, and what I say is law. Why, you mess of swabs, you think you can give your orders to me, you?
It's more than that we'd be giving you. The little black spot.
Oh, you will, huh? You'll tip me off the black spot? Well, let's see the one of you that dares. Send him along. Or maybe you've got it, have you? Have you?
Raises his cutlass and rushes at Black Dog, who avoids him.
Now hand it over. Hand it over.
I haven't it. But here it'll be all right. And you'll surrender things as don't belong to you, or you'll swing.
I'll swing. Then we'll all swing, and you can tell that to Silver, to Pugh, to Hans, to O'Brien, to all of them. Bill Bones is still in command.
And that's the answer I'm to take back.
Yes, that's the answer. And that.
As he speaks, he strikes with his cutlass. Black Dog tries to parry and fight, but he is quickly disarmed and flees, and the captain hurls his cutlass at him as he runs out the door. The captain, very much shaken himself, follows to the door to pick up his cutlass and calls after Black Dog.
Tell that too. Tell 'em whether Bill Bones has lost his arm.
As he picks up his cutlass.
Tell that to the one who's to bring the black spot and...
As he comes back into the room, he suddenly totters and falls upon a stool.
Jim!
The captain seems about to swoon.
What is it, Captain?
With rum for Black Dog.
Rum, quick.
Jim, rum on table center.
The doctor warned you.
Look, Jim, how my fingers fidget. I can't keep 'em still, not I. If I don't have a drain of rum, I'll have the horrors. I seen some on 'em already. I seen old Flint in the corner there behind you as plain as print. I seen him, and if I get the horrors, I'm a man that has lived rough, and I'll raise Cain. The doctor himself said one glass wouldn't hurt me, and I've hardly had a drop today. I'll give you a golden guinea for a noggin, Jim.
You shouldn't touch the stuff, sir.
Handing him the tankard.
There.
As Captain drinks.
Oh, sir, I'd better call someone. I fear it's another stroke.
Captain, holding on to Jim.
Don't you leave me. Don't leave me, Jim, not now. I need you.
Drinks.
You're the only one worth anything, and with your help, Jim, I'm gonna beat 'em yet. I will, Jim, I will.
Drinks and seems to recover as he does so.
You shouldn't touch that stuff, sir.
Eh?
The doctor said it was sure death.
Oh, what's he know about it? Doctors is all swabs, and that doctor there, why, what do he know about seafaring men?
Rise.
I've been in places as hot as pitch, and mates dropping round with the yellow jack, and the blessed land a-heaving like the sea with earthquakes.
Drops glass.
What do doctors know of lands like that? And I lived on rum, I tell you. It's been meat and drink and man and wife to me, and if I don't get me rum, I'm a battered old hulk on the lee shore. My blood'll be on your head, Jim, and on that doctor swab. You will give me one more noggin, won't you?
Seems to grow fainter. Jim, giving it to him from shelf up center.
You're killing yourself.
Captain, recovering.
Now, listen, Jim. That man just here, he's a bad 'un. But there's worse put him on. And they're out there on that ship, in the fog, waiting. They're trying to get me, to tip me the black spot.
The what?
The black spot. That's about the worst disgrace can come to a pirate captain. It means he must step down. That he's gone. Done for. That he's got to do what his men say instead of them doing what he says. Sometimes it means worse than that too. That's what I'm fearing from that crowd out there. Take a look at the door.
Jim looks out of door.
No one, sir.
Close the door. Come here.
Confidentially, as Jim comes up.
It's up there in my old sea chest, what they're after. But I'm going to try to get away first. And if I do, I'll promise you, I'll come back for you some day, and we'll go to sea. Aye, as I told you, in a schooner with a piping boatswain and pigtailed singing seamen. To sea, Jim, bound for an unknown island to seek buried treasure. You'd like that?
Oh, yes.
Well, I'll promise you. But if they tip me the black spot first, you get word to that Doctor Magistrate. Tell him to pipe all hands, and he'll lay 'em aboard here at the Benbow Inn, all of Flint's crew, all of 'em that's left.
Jim, frightened.
Not Flint the buccaneer.
Flint's crew, I was the first mate, aboard that ship there.
Points to print over mantel.
Old Flint's first mate, and I'm the only one as knows the place.
What place?
The place where Flint hid all his money. The chart's up there in my chest. Flint gave it to me in Savannah as he lay dying. But you won't peach, lad, lest they get the black spot on me. Will you, Jim?
No, no, Captain.
Or lest you see a seafaring man with one leg, him above all others. You'll keep your weathery eye open, lad.
Gets up, but he is very weak.
And if I get away, I'll pay you well. If I don't, you go to that chest and you takes out the money I owes your mother, and a little package in oilcloth. Take that to the doctor. He'll tell you what to do.
Jim goes to help the captain, who totters toward the stairs.
Let me help you.
No, Bill Bones can stand alone, yet. And with your help, sonny, we'll beat 'em. You'll see. We'll beat 'em yet.
Jim, upstairs.
Mother, Mother!
What is it?
Those men down there at the cove.
Yes?
They're pirates.
What?
Flint's crew. They've come for the captain up there.
Whistle.
Hear that?
What is it?
It's a signal.
Whistle.
There's the answer.
Noise.
He's heard it up there.
Mrs. Hawkins crosses to left of stairs.
Oh, dear. What shall we do? They'll be all about our ears. What shall we do?
We must send word to the doctor.
Yes. Yes. Come quick.
No, I've got to stay. My orders were to watch.
But
Dr. Livesey made me an officer of the Crown, and I must stay. So you must go, Mother.
And leave you alone, Jim? No. No, no.
The doctor's relying on us, Mother.
But the fog's so thick.
Just to the village, and be sure to tell the doctor they're not smugglers. They're pirates. Flint's crew. Quick.
Mrs. Hawkins kissing him.
Oh, Jim, Jim, you close the door. You close it tight.
There, Mother. Quick. There's no time to lose. Remember.
Exits left intermediate. He holds the door open and calls softly,
Mother, Mother.
When he gets no answer, he closes the door and comes back into the room. Then suddenly he gives a start, for there is heard the tapping of a person with a cane. The tapping comes closer and closer, and finally stops outside the door.
What's that?
There is a slight pause. Jim trembles. There is a knock at the door. With a gulp, Jim stumbles back. A second knock, and Jim masters his fear and approaches timidly the door. He opens it. There stands a man, plainly blind, a great green shade over his eyes and nose. He was hunched as if with age and weakness. He wore a tattered old sea cloak with hood, and that made him appear positively deformed. His voice was an odd sing-song. He is Pew.
Will any kind friend inform a poor blind man where or in what part of the country he is?
You're at the Admiral Benbow Inn, Black Hill Cove.
I hear a young voice. Will you lead me in, my kind young friend?
Jim takes Pew by hand.
There, sir, easy now, gently, and oh!
He winces with pain as Pew's manner suddenly changes, and he finds his arm gripped tight.
You're hurting my arm, sir, not so tight.
Pew, hard and menacing.
Take me to the captain.
Jim, trying to get away.
Oh, please, sir, please, sir.
Take me, or I'll break your arm.
The captain is ill, sir, very ill.
Lead me straight to him, and then say, here's a friend for you, Bill. If you don't this instant, I'll...
Jim, as Pew has suddenly stopped to urge him, and now stands listening.
Please let me go, sir, please.
I hear someone on the stairs. Unless Pew's ears trick him, it's a friend, the captain. Is it? Answer.
Squeezes Jim's arm.
Is it?
It is, sir.
And remember what I said, and I'm holding on to your arm.
He tightens his grip upon Jim, who winces. The captain comes tottering downstairs under the weight of his sea chest. He seems very feeble.
We'll beat him yet. We'll beat him yet, Jim.
Pew whispers to Jim and pinches.
Say it, now.
Jim winces under Pew's hold.
Here's a friend for you, Bill.
Captain turns and sees Pew. At sight of him, he lets the chest fall with a crash, and totteringly supports himself against it, seeming quite dazed.
Pew!
Pew to Jim.
Lead me to him.
As Jim leads him up to the captain.
Now, Bill, stay just where you are. Business is business. Hold out your hand. Boy, take his hand by the wrist. Bring it close to mine.
Jim does as directed, and Pew passes a paper into the hands of the captain, who seems to crumple up when he receives it.
Now, that's done. Lead me to the door, boy.
Jim leads him to the door.
Good day to you, Bill.
He goes out. Jim comes running back to the captain, who stands staring at the paper in his hand. Jim, as the captain stands swaying back and forth dizzily, and looking down at the paper in his hand.
What is it?
The black spot.
Turns over the paper and reads.
Till 10 o'clock.
With increasing force, as if getting an idea.
They've got me, but they shan't have that chest. Flint's fist, Bill. Bones is still in command. They shan't have it. They shan't. They shan't.
He stumbles up to the door, and then as he gets there, with a hoarse cry he puts his arm before his eyes, and stumbles back into the room. He reels, puts his hand to his throat, stands swaying a moment, and then, with a peculiar sound, falls from his whole height foremost to the floor. Falls right of stairs. Jim bends over the captain.
Captain! Captain!
Feels his chest.
Oh!
With a frightened cry he starts back as Mrs. Hawkins enters, left too.
Mother!
Points to captain.
The captain!
Dead! Glory be!
Get a candle. You sent word to the doctor?
Starts away. Mrs. Hawkins holding Jim back.
Yes. What are you going to do?
The captain said I was to get the money he owes us out of his sea chest, and I'm going to do it.
Moves toward body.
Jim.
Jim gets key from captain's hand.
Oh, Jim, don't.
Bring the candle, Mother.
Goes upstairs, followed by Mrs. Hawkins. Off stage.
Ah!
Mrs. Hawkins, still at door.
What is it?
Jim, off stage.
A quadrant. Tobacco.
But the money, Jim, the money.
Jim enters on stairs.
Here it is.
I'll take my due, not a penny more. What kind of money is this?
Pieces of 8, Spanish and French.
Spanish and French? Jim, who was this man?
A pirate, a buccaneer. He sailed in that ship with Flint.
Pirates?
All of them.
Pirate's gold. Put it back. I won't touch it. Lock it up again.
All right, Mother.
Exits and trunk slams. Re-enters.
It's all right. I've got it.
Got what?
The package he said I was to take to the doctor.
Pews taps.
What's that?
The blind man. He was here before for the captain.
They'll be murdering us all now.
Jim, drawing Mother downstairs.
Come, Mother, quick. The back way.
I can't. My legs won't move.
Come.
They exit. Flagstone outside door for Pew to tap. Noise outside.
Down with the door. If they won't open it, beat it down. Will you open it, or must we break it down?
When no answer comes.
Down with the door, then, men.
Aye, aye.
Down with her.
The men batter on the door as if with a large log. Finally the door is splintered to pieces.
Aye, that's it. Now in with you.
There is a shout as the men rush in. Black Dog, Mary, Hands, O'Brien, followed by Pew. To left center.
Now, scatter. Search everywhere. Quick, I say. Well, what's the matter? Why do you stop? What is it?
Mary and Hands over body. Black Dog at steps. Anderson to fireplace right. Mary, who with the other men have stumbled over Bill and stand eyeing him.
Bill's dead.
Well?
He's dead. Done for. Don't you understand, Pew?
Search him, you shirking lubbers. The chart's here somewhere, and we are gonna get it. Find that chest. Look for it.
It's here, Pew.
Open it, quick.
It's locked.
Anderson, with poker, crosses to left.
Break it open. Smash it open.
Chest thrown downstairs and smashed open.
Is it there? The chart?
They've been here before us.
Someone's turned the chest, alow and aloft.
Hands, who has been searching through the chest.
There's some money.
Hang the money. It's Flint's fist I want. Flint's fist.
We don't see it nowhere.
And Bill's been overhauled already. Nothing left.
It's that boy. I wish I'd put his eyes out. That chart must be here somewhere. Scatter and look for it.
The men dash upstairs and shout.
Look everywhere. Under the table. Beyond the curtains. Turn everything upside down.
The men turn over the tables, tear down the hangings. Hands tips over the chairs and scatters over the place all the furniture. A whistle is heard.
What's that?
It's Dirk's warning. We'll have to budge, mates.
Budge, you skulk. We don't stir until we find that chart.
But that signal.
You have your hands on it. Scatter and look for it. Oh, shiver my soul if I had my eyes.
Another whistle. Hands rushes in and the others.
Well? Why are you coming back?
Twice. You heard. Dirk's called. We better go.
Pew stands in the doorway.
Not one of you are going to leave. Why, you fools, you have your hands on thousands and you hang a leg. You'd be rich as kings and you stand there malingering. And I'm to lose my chance for you. If you had the pluck of a weevil and a biscuit, you'd stand your ground.
We're not going to stand here and be caught.
Not one of you goes till you find it. Or maybe you've got it.
The whistle again and sharply.
And you're hiding it on me.
Stand out of the way, Pew. We're going.
You're not. I believe you've got it and trying to hide it from me. Give it to me or you don't pass.
There is the sound of horses approaching.
Don't you hear them coming? Those horses.
Out of the way.
Not until you give it.
All right then, men. At him.
They make a lunge at Pew, who strikes back with his staff. They quickly overpower him and throw him into a far corner of the room. Then they rush out, as the horses are heard stopping nearby. Dr. Livesey's voice is heard giving orders without.
There they go. After them.
Pew, groping blindly.
Black dogs, hands, you won't leave old Pew. You'll save your old mate.
Jim glides in.
You'll save... Who's there? Who is it? Answer.
It is I, Jim Hawkins.
You stole that chart. By the living thunder, if I get my hands on you, I'll tear your heart out,
Making big sweeps with his cane, he rushes about. Jim, terrified.
Help! Squire! Dr. Livesey! Help!
I'll get you, you young rat. I'll get you.
Jim, as Pew comes nearer, darts out the door.
Squire! Dr. Livesey! Help! Quick!
I'll get you. I'll wring your neck.
He rushes out the door. Then of a sudden there is the report of a pistol. There is a shriek, and then Jim rushes into the room. Almost at once he is followed by the Squire and Dr. Livesey.
Jim, what's this story we hear about pirates?
It's true, sir.
This was Flint's crew.
Yes, sir, and that man there was Flint's mate.
But if this is true...
Here, sir, is the proof of it.
Offers packet.
What's this?
I took it from his sea chest there. It's a map showing where Flint buried his treasure.
What?
By Gad, if this should be...
Thousands upon thousands Flint buried, and hundreds have tried to find it. If this should prove the clue to Flint's treasure...
Tall tree, spyglass, mountain bearing a point to the north of NNE.
Black dog appears.
Skeleton Island ESE. The gold is in the North Cache.
By Gad, Livesey, that's it. We'll go to Bristol, we'll fit out a ship, and we'll have that treasure if it takes a year. And Hawkins shall go with us.
You don't mean it? To go to sea with a piping boatswain and a pigtail singing seaman, bound for an unknown island to seek buried treasure?
Curtain. End of Act 1.